The Nobel AI breakthrough. For decades, science has been trying to model the brain's most basic building block, the neuron. But what if all those models were missing the one thing that makes our brains, us, their beautiful, unpredictable, glorious messiness? Well, it turns out there's a revolutionary new AI that can finally capture it. So here's how we are going to break this down. First, we'll look at why this was such a huge challenge to begin with. Then, we'll meet the new hero of the story, the Nobel framework. We'll see just how unbelievably fast and accurate it is. And then, we'll look at what this all means for the future of understanding the human brain. Alright, first thing first, let's set the stage. Why is creating a digital copy of a single brain cell so ridiculously hard? Well, the whole problem really comes down to this fundamental clash between our neat, orderly computers and the chaotic, messy reality of biology. See, our traditional computer models are what you'd call deterministic. You give them an input, you get the exact same output every single time. But real neurons, oh no. They have this thing called intrinsic variability. You can zap the same neuron with the same signal twice and get two slightly different responses. They aren't static photos. They are more like characters with their own unique personalities. Now, to get around this, researchers came up with a pretty clever but incredibly clunky method called Hall of Fame models. The idea was instead of making just one model for a neuron, they'd create a whole family of them, hundreds of different static snapshots trying to capture all the different ways that one neuron might behave. But the cost was just astronomical. To generate one of these families for one single neuron could take up to 600,000 CPU core hours. Just think about that. This is an insane amount of computing power for just one tiny cell. And here was the real killer. You couldn't blend them. You couldn't take two models from the family and average them to create a new in-between version. If you tried, you didn't get a new realistic neuron. You got digital garbage, a broken, nonsensical result. It was a massive dead end. So, how do you break through a wall like that? Well, you invent something new. Enter the Nobel framework, an AI designed to solve this exact problem. Nobel stands for Neural Operator with Biologically Informed Latent Embeddings. Yeah, I know it's a mouthful, but the idea behind it is just brilliant. Instead of creating a big collection of static snapshots, Nobel learns a continuous map of neuron personalities. It doesn't just know a few poses, it understands the entire landscape of how a neuron can possibly behave. Okay, here's the best way to think about it. The old way was like having a photo album with a bunch of static pictures. Noble is like a character creator in a really advanced video game. It gives scientists sliders and dials to generate an infinite number of unique, totally realistic neuron variations all on the fly. So, how does this magic trick work? Well, it's kind of like a three-step process. First, Noble takes key features of a neuron, like its firing threshold, and translates them into a mathematical language it understands. Then, its powerful AI brain, the neural operator, crunches those numbers along with an electrical input. And finally, boom, it predicts a realistic dynamic voltage response. It basically dreams up the electrical life of a brand new, unique neuron it just invented. Now, all of this sounds amazing in theory, right? But what about in practice? Well, this is where things go from cool to absolutely revolutionary. Let's just start with speed. Logo is up to 4,200 times faster than the old traditional methods. What used to take months of computer time can now be done in minutes. That's not just an improvement, it's a completely different league. And what's crucial is that this mind-blowing speed doesn't sacrifice accuracy, not one bit. As you can see here, Noble's predictions are just as spot on when compared to real data from human neurons as the old, painstakingly slow models were. You get the speed and the accuracy, the best of both worlds. But here it is. Here's its real superpower. The researchers themselves say it right here. It can generate novel, as in brand new, realistic neural models just by exploring that map of personalities. This was the exact thing that was completely impossible before. To put it visually, trying to blend the old models was like getting a corrupted image file, just a glitchy, broken mess. But with Noble, it's like a smooth transition in that character creator. You get valid, believable looking neurons every single time. This is a game changer. So let's step back. We have a tool that is thousands of times faster, just as accurate, and can create infinite variations of brain cells. What in the world does this actually unlock for science? I mean, why does this really matter? Because the brain isn't made of one average repeating neuron copied billions of times. It's a massive, diverse population of unique cells. To truly simulate the brain, you have to capture that diversity. And for the very first time, Noble gives us a tool to actually do that at scale. And what just blows the doors wide open? We are talking about getting deeper insights into heartbreaking diseases like Alzheimer's and schizophrenia. We are talking about building the first truly realistic models of large-scale brain circuits. It can even create a new way to link our genetic code directly to how our neurons behave, which has been a holy grail in neuroscience for years. And that leaves us with this incredible thought. For the first time, we have a tool that doesn't just tolerate the brain's beautiful messiness, it embraces it. We can now generate its building blocks not as static pictures, but as living characters. So if we can create infinite realistic neurons whenever we want, what's next? An entire brain circuit that can learn? Maybe one can think that the journey to find out just got a whole lot shorter.